right, welcome back. So I did not make it a prediction. I did not do a review. No pre-fight review, no pre-fight prediction, but I definitely watched the fight last night. It was actually one of the better cards as far as WMMA. There were 3 fights on the card. Luckily, the fighters that missed weight and ended up at about the same weight. So there was really no size advantage for either fighter. That was Wayne Kong. She was overweight, I think by a pound maybe. And the other fighter overweight by about 1.5 pounds. It's too late to talk about who I would have taken, and I'm not going to do that anyways. I'm going to just point out who won. Ketlin Souza defeated Bruna Brazil. Now, Bruna Brazil, I think her biggest problem is she doesn't know how to deal with pressure fighters that well, in my opinion. When she turns around and starts running from her opponents, that's a bad habit. She needs to, and also, she'll be squared up with an opponent and she won't throw any strikes. The only thing she'll do is put up her guard, like you see in this photo here, and then after her opponent throws their shot, she has no counter shot for them. She is like an exclusively a lead striker, and quite often she doesn't get off first. In an exchange like this one right here, for example, it would be different if Bruna Brazil threw a shot at Ketlin Souza. Ketlin Souza tries to throw a counter, and then she turtles up like this. And then after Souza throws her counter, Bruna comes back with her own counter. That's another acceptable scenario. But to just be squared up in front of your opponent throws strikes, you turtle up, and after they throw strikes, you don't even throw a counter shot. So you don't lead, okay? Your opponent's strikes are not counter strikes. They're leading. They're getting off first. You turtle up and you never throw counters. That's a bad habit. That'll lose you a fight. Like it did here. You can't do that. Bruna Brazil was retreating too much. And she seemed like she didn't know how to deal with Souza's pressure. And Souza, I thought her pressure was reckless. She wasn't moving her head off center line when she was doing that, man. You could have stuck her with several shots. You had a wide assortment of shots to choose from, the way she was just walking after you like that. That's basically making mockery of your power. Now, Bruna got off a few fancy strikes. I don't think she should have been throwing those stupid spinning back fists. You saw her get clinched by Souza a couple times when she did that. Them spinning attacks. I think you just need to put the brakes on those when you got a pressure fighter, a fighter who wants to pressure you. But I was not impressed by Souza holding her against the cage and giving her some knees to the thigh. I hate that style of fighting. The referee had to break them up more than once because of it. Nobody likes it. You heard the crowd booing. I really wish fighters would stop doing that. And if they don't, I wish refs would be a lot quicker to jump in and separate them. You know, holding them against the cage, knee to the thigh. You're just wasting time. You're wasting time. Okay? That's almost like sabotage. You stealing my money now. Okay? I'm not paying to watch you do this. That was the only downside, I thought, to Souza's performance. That was the downside to Souza's performance. All that time spent with knees to the thigh. Other than that, her offense in many moments looked better than Bruna's. She was throwing these wide hooks with a lot of power on them. Bruna Brazil not throwing counters, not firing back. Bruna she would pot shot Souza. She would pick moments where she would land this strike, maybe a knee. She landed a lot of knees on Souza. Like knee to the body, knee to the head. But she never really had momentum on her side. She was never dominant over Ketlin Souza. Now, Ketlin Souza she had some dominant moments, especially like in these moments where she was chasing her, old girl running, and Souza just teeing off. The thing was, Souza figured out this girl don't throw counters. So if I tee off on her, I don't have to look out for anything coming back. All she does is turtle up. So Bruna needs a more aggressive offense. She primarily relies on her striking. If you're going to do that, you need a more aggressive arsenal. You need to throw counters. And there's no debate about that. You have to be a counter striker if you want to primarily be a striker. You got to start to take confidence away from your opponent. You can't just let fighters walk you down like that. You can't allow that to happen. You got to demand a certain amount of respect. Right? Make them have to eat a shot or deal with a jab. And where was the jab? Especially with a pressure fighter like that. That's your go-to strike. A jab. She wasn't even really sticking a jab in Souza's face. So, stop training to do spinning attacks. Stop with these fancy strikes and stick with the basics. I think that's a big reason why she lost. She abandons the basics. Jab, right cross. Jab, right cross. There was moments when Souza was chasing Bruna Brazil where Ketlin was wide open for a straight right cross. Similar to the strike that Yan Xiaonan landed on Jessica Andrade when Andrade was, hyper chasing Yan around the cage. So she needs to pick her shots better as well, Bruna Brazil. So, yeah. Winner, Ketlin Souza. The other fight, Wayne Kong against Eduardo Mora. Now, Mora started off this fight with all kinds of pressure. They touched gloves, and it was almost like Mora took advantage. It was like Mora took advantage of the fact that they touched gloves first so that she could stay at a close distance. And she didn't have far to get to her. Immediately after touching gloves, Mora is chasing her down, putting pressure on Wang Kong. And she starts eating shots. Mora starts eating shots. And when that happens, she immediately goes for takedowns. And that was her plan for this fight. Her plan is to get this fight to the ground and beat up on Kong on the ground. And Kong's takedown defense is not that good. I mean, she was never stopped. Wang Kong was never stopped. But, a better wrestler, grappler, I think, is going to give Wang Kong all kinds of trouble, just like it has already. But her striking didn't fail her. I'm talking about Wang Kong. Her striking didn't fail her in this fight. The moments that they did stand, Wang Kong was getting the better of it, even knocked her down one moment during the fight. Mora looked like she was terrified to strike, which was weird because when the fight first started and she started putting all that pressure on her, she was throwing strikes. And I'm like, okay, she's going to try to take advantage of that weak chin, that glass jaw that Wang Kong's. She's trying to knock Wang Kong out. That's what I thought at first. But then when she went for the takedown, when Mora went for the takedown, she just basically started to commit to takedowns that point going forward. She must have just was real uncomfortable with striking with Wang Kong. Real uncomfortable. And it didn't work for her. It got kind of boring. She up there with this struggling to get a takedown. And, in between all that, every now and then Wang Kong would get her off her. She was eating shots. She clearly lost all the stand-up. Then in the third round, she started to lose the fight on the ground. Towards the end of the fight, Wang Kong was beating on her. Had her leaking from her nose. Leaking from the nose. And then in the third, she was hitting her throughout the whole fight. If they were on the feet, Mora was getting hit with shots. A lot of them to her body, which was interesting. That was kind of interesting to see that was a part of Wang Kong's game plan, to throw straight right. I think it was straight, from an orthodox stance, throw a straight right to Mora's body. You don't see that often in women's MMA. So I guess they thought that she was weak in the body, had a weak core. And one of those punches that she tried to throw at Mora's body, she threw it, and Mora's head was down there. And she punched her in the face, and that's when she got the knockdown. It looked like she was aiming for Mora's body at that moment, but Mora's happened to be slumped over or something. That was a weird little sequence. But she wasn't that dazed, kind of, I think, knocked her off balance more than anything. Wang Kong almost got a submission. Almost choked her out towards the end of the third round. She was fishing for a rear naked choke for a while, and in between fishing for it, she was beating on Mora. Mora was kind of a bloody mess. Wang Kong is now on a 2-fight win streak. Another back and forth, kind of a bloody fight. Priscilla loses to Claudia Segula. As you saw, Priscilla thought she won, but the judges saw it different. I thought that the taller fighter won also. Priscilla was missing too many shots. But Priscilla was landing some pretty good shots of her own. This was pretty much a boxing match. It's pretty much a boxing match. Start to finish. Segula with the sound effects to her strikes. She had better movement than Priscilla. She stayed using angles the whole fight. Come in with a combination. Ha, ha, ha. Three. She's throwing a lot of 3-strike combinations. A lot of combinations. A lot of combinations from Claudia. She'll come in, throw a combination, and then she'll leave the pocket at a different angle. She pretty much did that every single time. Come in at one angle and leave from a different angle. She used angles on her all night. That was clearly the game plan of Claudia Segula. And, Priscilla don't do well against fighters that's doing that, especially when they got a height and reach advantage. Priscilla's not that good of a wrestler. She's not going to time no takedown, to get that fighter down to the ground. Priscilla's not that good on the ground anyways. Segula also mixed in kicks, and for whatever reason, Priscilla never throws kicks, so she was eating a lot of kicks to the body, sort of like teep kicks, straight kicks to Priscilla's body. Just a lot more combinations, look better than Priscilla. Priscilla loses, and Priscilla had Amanda Nunes in her corner. So, not only are they training together, she's coming out and she's cornering for Priscilla. Well, they lost that night. Here recently, Manon has come out and challenged Natalia Silva. Manon does not want Silva to get a title. Manon does not want anybody other than herself to get a title shot. That's what I believe. She only wants herself to contend for that belt. Now, whether or not it happens, we'll see. But she has come out. Here's an article on it. Ex-title challenger wants to alter UFC's plan for Shevchenko with proposition to Dana White. She wants to fight. She wants to eliminate her bout with Natalia Silva. Now, I say no. I say no. I'm not with it. No, she's had enough fights. I'm sick of seeing her fighting another one, fighting another one, fighting another one. I mean, who's the last fighter to have to do all that? Fight somebody else. Get the hell out of here. Broad is on an 8-fight win streak. 3 former champions, and beat it, Manon. If she loses to Shevchenko, you can fight her then. If she beats Shevchenko, then you can fight her then. There ain't no rush to fight Silva. Y'all clearly gonna have a fight sooner or later. Don't nobody want to see you being the only one to fight Shevchenko. I want to see a variety of fighters fight Shevchenko. I want to see Shevchenko fight somebody that she hasn't fought yet. We've already seen you against her. Okay? There's a lack of interest in you having a rematch with Shevchenko. You know full well, Manon, that's the beauty of fights, combat sports. To see fighters who haven't fought each other yet fight. Okay? You know how much that would bore us? No intrigue. And what would happen? Would you go in there and get a nosebleed in the first round again? Would you go in there and... No, man. Listen, I think Manon, if she continues to fight, will eventually be champion again. I do. But at the same time, I want to see other fighters fight Shevchenko. Right now, we've only seen Manon, Alexa Grasso. See, that fight against Wei Li wasn't even against a flyweight. I want to see Shevchenko against fighters in this division. In this division. Okay? Out of this new crop of fighters, Shevchenko has not fought that many. And I want to see other fighters fight. So, fingers crossed, hopefully Manon does not get her wish. And they announce Shevchenko against Natalia Silva soon. Remember, styles make fights. Styles make fights. I'm seeing a lot of people forget this. Shevchenko could fight Natalia Silva and have all kinds of problems. She could even lose. Silva could very well present something that Shevchenko can't figure out. Styles make fights. It's not about whether or not I had an easier time with a like opponent. It's not always like that. We all know that. And I'm just throwing this out there because people are getting a little one-sided. Now, I'm going to take Shevchenko in that fight. Make no mistake. But styles make fights. And Shevchenko's never dealt with a fighter with this particular style. The style that Silva uses. Okay? And you don't need a lot of size to defeat Shevchenko. Alexa Grasso proved that. She proved that. You say Natalia made it clear she won't fight Manon? Okay, I didn't see that. I'll check her social media. But she'll have to fight Manon eventually. If she fights Shevchenko next, I'm sure Silva don't want to fight nobody next other than Shevchenko. But if she fights Shevchenko next, and whether or not she wins or loses, I think she's going to have to fight Manon. I'm talking about Natalia Silva. I'm thinking they're going to match her against Shevchenko. And if Silva loses, she has to fight Manon. If she wins, she has to fight Manon. These fighters are not going to keep ducking Manon. Everybody trying to do that. Everybody trying to do that, and it's not going to happen. It could happen, but I'm going to be speaking against it the whole time. Yeah, we'll see what happens. She's a 105, not a 115. Okay. Who you talking about? Wei Li? Who's a 105? Yeah. Remember, Dana was talking about how, he's going to eventually have atomweight. I don't believe it, but we'll see. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I think that has more to do of her feeling like I fought enough people. You know, I fought enough fighters. If you look at other fighters who got title shots, they did not have this kind of win streak that Silva has. I think she just don't want to keep having to fight everybody. I'll fight another one, fight another one, fight another one. That could be part of it, or she just don't want to fight her. I think a lot of fighters look at Manon as like a guaranteed loss. Now, that said, I think Jasmine thought she could beat Manon. I think she truly thought that I can get this girl down, get her on the ground and my wrestling, and I can get her out of here and do something to her. I think she was confident. But that ended real fast. And I think that scared a lot of the other fighters, you know. A lot of other fighters like, hey, yeah, I don't want to have to deal with Manon to get a title shot. Don't want to deal with Manon at all. But look, everybody, you're going to have to. Manon ain't going nowhere. Okay? She ain't that young. She ain't that old. I think she a little younger than Shevchenko. She ain't going nowhere. Y'all going to have to fight this broad. Y'all going to have to figure her out. Figure out something. Okay? Because right now she looks like, aside from Shevchenko, she's looking like the most difficult fighter in that division. We'll see what happens. And I'll leave it there.